Hello YouTube. Today I wanted to do a instruction video on these little capacitors that go onto the Tekin RS Pro series ESC. So if you've ever had one of these, you know that capacitor goes on there like that onto the power leads, and it stays exterior to the ESC, so it kind of gets in the way. So one issue I've had is once I've soldered it on, you know, these power wires move around and that sort of thing. But I've had the legs bust off at the capacitor. So once that happens, you know, it's done. You can't really fix that. So first thing I would recommend is obviously putting the ESC closest to the capacitor, excuse me, closest to the ESC, and then your power wires at an angle, maybe 45-degree angle, coming away from it, so it does help not to touch it. But also what I'd like to do is something like this. I'm going to show you. So what I did was I have the ESC, or excuse me, sorry, the capacitor here, and it's filled on the inside with shoe goo. See that? So what that does is, even if these move around now, they're not going to break off from the actual capacitor itself on the inside. So once this is soldered onto the ESC, it's going to be a lot more stable as far as, you know, getting bumped around and that sort of thing. These RC cars, they like to flip over and go through jumps and do all kinds of stuff that might affect that. So I just wanted to show you how to do that real quick, and it's super simple. So I got some heat shrink here, sorted sizes, and the size we're going to be using for this is the 3/8 to 3/16 size. It's the largest size in this container. So I know they can go bigger, so it looks like that. Toothpick, and then we got the shoe goo. So the first thing I do is I take the heat shrink and I cut off about a half of an inch piece. Now you can do longer or shorter. It's really up to you what length you want. You know, the general rule with capacitors is you want the legs as short as possible. So and I think maybe a lot of the reason to that is, without this, if you have a long capacitor legs, that's, you know, a really good chance to get something to arc across that sort of thing, and breakage. So anyways, once you got that, you just got your little half-inch piece of shrink tubing, and then you just slide over the ESC. Now, it's a nice tight fit, which is what we want, and you just kind of get it over there as far as you want. It just depends on how long you want to struggle with it, how far it goes on there. But as long as you got, so in this case, I'm about almost halfway covering the ESC, which is plenty. And then you got your open end, got your two little legs sticking out there. Then you take a shoe goo. This is super simple. Open it up and put a dab of shoe goo on top. Now, shoe goo, that's a bit of my garage, so it's nice and cool out here. It's a pretty thick consistency, so I just kind of do this type of thing. Just kind of put a glob all the way around it. Take a toothpick. Okay. If you lick the end of the toothpick, it actually slides through this shoe goo. It doesn't stick to it, so I recommend doing that. But then just kind of push the shoe goo down, down, down into the heat shrinking, just like that. Okay, you'll work your way around, work your way around. It will all go in there. Okay. Alright, so now once you're done, you'll notice, maybe I'll try to focus on it here, but if you look at the legs of the capacitor, okay, you'll notice that there is some shoe goo stuck to the legs, going up it right there. Okay, if you wait till this is completely dry, shoe goo takes, you know, an hour up to 24 hours or so to dry completely and harden as much as it's going to be. Shoe goo will be a little bit pliable once it's done, but once it's dry and as you know, solid as it's going to get, you can go back through there with maybe a screwdriver tip. I wouldn't use a razor because you do run the risk of nicking these legs, and then once you nick that leg, it will have a tendency to want to to want to break at that point. So maybe using a screwdriver tip, something smaller like this, and then you can go down it, you can scrape all that off. Okay, so it does come off pretty easily, but when it's all said and done, this is what it'll look like. Okay, so my legs are nice and clean. Shugu is nice and hard on the inside. You can also, I didn't on these ones, but you can also take a heat gun to this just to, I don't know, maybe that would shrink down a little bit. I don't think it would make that much of a difference or change all that much, but yeah, but there you go. Piece of cake. Super simple. And now when you mount that on your ESC, it's going to be a lot more resistant to breaking those legs off and a little bit safer. So enjoy, guys. Hope you find that useful. If you don't, that's cool. But if you do, it might save you buying these capacitors. They're not super expensive, but it is a pain in the butt because out on the race day, if you break a leg, in a bad way, I guess, if you break one of the legs, your ESC is done. So, all right. Well, take care, guys, and have a good one.